exams, tests, end of term, whatever you want to call it. It's coming up and it's just right around the corner. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Oh, welcome to my channel. If you are new, you are always welcome here. Feel free to click that subscribe button roaming right around the screen or right down there below. So today's video, I'm going to give you guys some study tips for finals that will definitely help you out. I know there are so much study tips videos out there and they are mostly like generalized, but I'm going to give you like specific tips for specific subjects that I do, and maybe if you do the same subjects you could relate along. Would really help you, or these specific strategies you could use for different subjects that you do. I am currently an upper A-level student. Right after this, in September this year, I will be going to university, and I do science subject and another subject that is compulsory. So I have maximum 4 subjects. So starting off with biology. Biology is literally so much to read and so much information to process. So I have a very thin textbook, so I use that textbook. I literally read that textbook from front to back. It is very thin. It has questions. There are multiple choice questions and there are structured questions. I make sure I read that textbook over and over basically. When I break down information, what I do is take sticky notes and put it right directly in the textbook on the exact same pages, summarizing little things that I read and key points. And it is not my textbook, it is the school textbook, so I cannot write in it, but I put sticky notes and I basically summarize into point form whatever the textbook says, or in other ways that I can interpret it and understand. Another thing that I do is there are summaries at the end of every chapter for biology, so I write over the summaries in my own words and I write it on my own paper, so that helps me to memorize it. When I write things over and over, I really do memorize it. I also do past papers, which is from past exams. They are so helpful because past papers are exactly how the exam questions are going to come. So when I get practice doing these past paper questions, I have no problem understanding the questions for the exam when it does come. I do not use the syllabus for biology because it is so broad. I feel as if I use the syllabus, I would actually be I would miss out information, which is not really what the syllabus is for. It actually is to help you learn what you are supposed to learn for the exam, but I rather learn biology on its own with the entire textbook, and I also use internet sources. It really does help me. I also do physics, which we all know is a mathematical subject, and I did really like math at one point in time, but physics is not something that I am really good at, but I do kind of like it. I'm trying to convince myself to like it even more so that I will be doing better at it. What I do is that I use the syllabus. I try to study exactly according to the syllabus because it helps me break down things into separate chapters and separate topics to learn things, because physics is more like equations and formulas. So what I do, number 1, is I use index cards to write over formulas, definitions and equations only. Nothing else, just those 3 things. My teacher really made those notes into books for us, and he binded it, so that is what we use. So I study from those notes. Sometimes I write over those notes into my own words, some simple things that I cannot understand, not simple things, but things that I wouldn't understand from how he wrote it. I use the internet as a source. YouTube is one of the biggest sources that you have when it comes to schoolwork. Trust me, it works. And also, papers is a must with studying any subject. It really does help. Chemistry. The chemistry text that I have is literally like really thick. So chemistry, since the textbook is so broad, and chemistry is also a lot of information that you have to know and remember. So what I do is I use the textbook and I use internet sources and I use other textbooks, more than one, and I put it into my own notes and try to condense it as much as I can. For each chapter or topic that we do, even though I would have like 3 pages of notes, I would try to have 1 page which summarizes those 3 pages. Basically, it's like a process diagram that helps me, that uses keywords that would help me remember everything, to see if I would really be able to process it, that if I have been reading over my notes. I really try to continuously read my notes over and over. What I also do is there are questions at the end of each chapter. There are questions from that textbook, so I try to do every single question from that textbook. They are simple questions, so when I do get through with those questions, I actually feel more confident into doing past papers, which are basically harder questions. Questions from past papers are not straightforward, and you have to do more in-depth thinking and interpreting. It's not that you don't know always know the stuff, it's how you portray the stuff, and that is one of my main problems. So doing simpler questions before I do the harder questions actually helps me to really build confidence in my own self. And trust me, one of the tips that I have for you when studying is that you must never tell yourself that you don't like a subject or you're not interested in it. And if you don't like that subject, never put it off. Always try to convince yourself that, listen, even if you may not like it, there's something good about it. Find something good in it and try to do that as much as you can. That subject that I do is Caribbean Studies. It is a compulsory subject. Caribbean Studies is basically a mixture of history, sociology, English. It's just a lot of books. And it is so much to remember for Caribbean Studies. Sometimes you feel as if for the exam it would just be so super hard to remember everything. And the Caribbean Studies textbooks that I have are really thick, and I don't only use one textbook, I use more than one textbook. So what I do is I try to read. I love reading, so that is one good thing about Caribbean Studies, is that I will actually read the textbooks and try to, understand and interpret things in my mind. There is, in one of the textbooks that I have, there is a summary at the end of each chapter basically, so that really does help me against Caribbean Studies. Caribbean Studies, for the exam you actually have to write essays, so that is, I mean, I love writing, but writing essays on Caribbean Studies, it's pretty hard. But basically I always do my homework when the teacher gives homework, because in class she would give simpler essays. So once I can get those done and she would give me my corrections, and I would feel more confident about myself. I try to do essays that are from past papers, and there are also simpler essays in the textbook itself. And also I use a lot of online presentations for Caribbean Studies, because everybody makes their own notes in a different way. So I'm not always able to make my own notes for Caribbean Studies because it's such a broad topic. I keep thinking that I would leave out something, so I use a lot of online presentations. For example, in SlideShare, I have an account in LinkedIn, which is, I think it's worldwide. Yes, it is worldwide. So that really does help me find things that I want for schoolwork. Also, there's this guy on YouTube, I forgot his name right now, but he gives lectures on Caribbean Studies. I will put the link somewhere on the screen right above my head, floating in the air. You would click that, and if you are doing Caribbean Studies, then that will really help you. My final tip is that no matter how much subjects you are doing, you must try to balance your time equally between all subjects. Time is of the most importance when it comes to studying and doing all these assignments. And also for these 3 science subjects, biology, physics and chemistry, I have labs to do, so that is even more work. So time is of a great. That's one of the hardest things for me to balance between doing work and having my normal life, but you guys can figure it. If I can figure it out, you guys can figure it out. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope these tips help you. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if it did. Share this video to your friends if you think that they need these study tips. And good luck in your exams. You will do great. Just focus on your work and study to your heart's content. So bye.